The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
Last week, staff changes continued in Georgia and are expected to persist this week and beyond. It has also become known that Georgia has withdrawn Zurab Pololikashvili's candidacy from the UN World Tourism Organization's Secretary General elections. Pololikashvili will remain in office until the end of the year. However, he stated that the motive behind the government's decision to withdraw his candidacy remains unclear. The ruling party in Georgia has not provided a clear explanation either. Georgia's representative in a top international position will stay and remain until the end of the year. The United States and China have reached an agreement regarding tariffs after a meeting held in Geneva. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told reporters that both sides agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed on each other within the next 90 days. Specifically, the US will lower tariffs on Chinese products from 145 to 30, while China will reduce tariffs on American goods from 125 to 10. This transitional deal had a positive impact on global markets, which continued to show growth last week. A planned meeting between the presidents of Russia and Ukraine in Istanbul did not take place. However, working groups from both sides were in contact. It is possible that in the coming week we will witness the largest prisoner exchange between conflicting parties. Over 1,000 military captives exchanged between Kiev and Moscow. On Monday, Donald Trump is expected to hold another phone call with Putin, along with follow-up calls to President Zelensky and several NATO leaders. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has updates on its economic outlook for its member countries. According to the report, Georgia's economic growth forecast for 2025 remains unchanged at 6%. However, the report highlights several risks that affected the country's economy, most of which are political. The key concerns are the ongoing political uncertainty and the halted process of EU integration. The EBRD warns that these factors could negatively impact both exports and foreign investment. In April 2025, Georgia received $295 million in remittances, which is a 6.1% increase compared to April. The United States leads with $54 million, a 17% increase from the same period last year. Italy ranks second with $50 million. Meanwhile, remittances from the Russian Federation fell by 19% to $39.9 million. Exports totaled $617 million, a 41% increase compared to the same period last year. Imports amounted to $1.4 billion, reflecting a 4% annual decrease from January to April 2025. Exports reached $2 billion, up 14%, while imports totaled $5.7 billion. The trade deficit stood at $3.7 billion, which is 48.1% of the total foreign trade turnover. In the first quarter of 2025, microfinance institutions operating in Georgia recorded a net profit of 29 million Georgian lari, according to their consolidated financial report. Compared to the same period in 2024, their net profit increased by 300,000 Georgian lari. As of May 16th, the microloan limit for microfinance institutions has doubled. According to amendments to the law on microfinance institutions, the maximum loan amount per borrower has been raised from 100,000 to 200,000. The Microfinance Association states that this change will allow institutions to retain their existing clients. Turkey's Eksim holding plans to build wind power plants in Georgia. The company has already submitted environmental impact assessment documentation for proposed sites in the municipalities of Zestafoni Gori and Tetritzaro and is awaiting permission from the Environmental Supervision Department. Eksim Holding has been investing in Georgia's energy sector since 2007. Its subsidiary, Ajara Energy 2007, has been operating the 47.5 megawatt Helvachauri hydropower plant 1 since 2017 and has managed the 51.2 megawatt Kirnati hydropower plant operations since 2018.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.